Have you ever felt that your mind never shuts off, as if a constant internal conversation keeps you trapped in a cycle of endless thoughts? Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychologist, believed that this internal dialogue disconnects us from our true essence, from the peace that lies beyond the thinking mind. What would happen if you set aside this inner voice and experienced the profound silence of your being? In this reflection, we explore what occurs when we stop identifying with that voice and discover the vast world of consciousness that opens up on the other side of mental noise. What you uncover could transform your way of seeing reality. The main cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. You have a voice in your head, but you don't realize it because you believe that voice is you. No one notices this because almost everyone suffers from it and considers it normal. While thinking, you believe it is you who is thinking. We believe in this voice and identify with it, and so we are always thinking. This incessant mental noise prevents us from finding inner serenity, and therefore we cannot discover who we truly are. It causes the mind to create a false self and cast a shadow of fear and suffering over us. The compulsive thinker, which is almost everyone, lives in a world filled with conflicts and problems. Therefore, the imbalance of thought has become a disease. If used correctly, the mind is a magnificent tool. However, when used incorrectly, it becomes destructive. For example, there is nothing wrong with the division and multiplication of cells in the human body, but when this process occurs without regard for the organism as a whole, cells proliferate and we have a disease. To be even more precise, it is not you who is using your mind incorrectly. Generally, you simply do not use the mind, it uses you, and this is the disease. If you believe you are your mind, you believe you are your thoughts, and this is an illusion. A tool has taken control of you. If you cannot free yourself from your mind when you want to, it means the mind is using you. The fact is that we are so identified with it that we don't realize we are its slaves. Almost everyone hears a voice or voices constantly in their head. These are involuntary thought processes that we believe we cannot stop, manifesting as continuous monologues or dialogues. The voice comments, judges, compares, complains, likes and dislikes. The voice doesn't need to be relevant to the current situation. It may be reliving the recent or distant past, or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Sometimes this soundtrack is accompanied by mental images or movies. Thus we see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and construct a completely distorted image. It is not uncommon for this voice to become our worst enemy. Many people live with bodies tortured by their minds which attack and punish them relentlessly, draining their vital energy. This is the cause of much distress and unhappiness, as well as disease. But we can free ourselves from our minds. This is the only true liberation. Begin by paying attention to what the voice says, especially the repetitive thought patterns, those old soundtracks you've been hearing in your head for years. Freedom begins when we realize that we are not the entity, the thinker. Knowing this allows us to observe the entity, to be an observer of our thoughts. If you are below thought, if you are a hostage to mental noise, you are consciousness disguised as a person. The moment we begin to observe the thinker, we activate a higher level of consciousness. We start to realize that there is a vast area of intelligence beyond thought. Thought is just a small aspect of this intelligence. We also realize that all truly important things, such as love, creativity, and inner peace, arise from a place beyond the mind. Simply observe and listen to the voice in your head. Be present as an impartial witness. Listening to this voice without judging it means that the voice has just returned through the back door. Feeling your own presence is not a thought. It is something that arises. From a place beyond the mind, listening to a thought means you are aware not only of the thought but also of yourself as the witness of the thought. This occurs because a new dimension of consciousness has arisen. When you listen to the thought, you feel a conscious presence that is your innermost being behind the thought. The thought then loses the power it has over you and quickly fades because the mind no longer receives energy generated by your identification with it. This is the beginning of the end of involuntary thought. When thought quiets down, we perceive a break in the mental flow, an empty space in the mind. Initially, these spaces are short, perhaps only a few seconds, but gradually they become longer. When these spaces occur, we feel a certain serenity and inner peace. This is the natural state of feeling in unity with being. usually covered by the mind. With practice, the sense of peace and serenity intensifies. In fact, this intensity has no end. You will feel a subtle emanation of joy arising from within, the joy of being. In this state of inner connection, we are very alert, fully present. As we penetrate deeper into this area of empty mind, we begin to perceive the state of pure consciousness. In this state, we feel our own presence with such intensity and joy that thoughts, emotions, our body, and the outside world become insignificant by comparison. Another possible method, besides observing the thinker, is to create a space in the mind's flow by directing our attention completely to the present, becoming aware of this present moment here and now. By doing so, we divert consciousness from mental activity and create an empty mind space where we are extremely alert and aware. This is the essence of meditation in daily life. It is possible to practice this by paying full attention to any routine activity, normally considered only as a means to an end, and transforming it into an end in itself. For example, whenever you go up or downstairs at home or at work, pay close attention to every step, every movement, even your breathing. Be completely present and aware of a sense of silent but powerful presence. Every time we create a space in the flow of thoughts, the light of consciousness intensifies. To measure your success in this practice, check the degree of peace within you. Gradually, we lose identification with the mind and associate ourselves with the silence, with the now. By continuing this practice of presence and observation of thoughts, one day you might find yourself smiling at the voice inside your head, just as you would smile at the mischief of a child. This means that you no longer take what goes on in your mind seriously, because your inner being no longer depends on it. Our greatest obstacle is identifying with the mind. This is the most important step on the path to enlightenment, learning to disassociate ourselves from our minds. This change is available and within reach for everyone here and now. When we become fully aware of the present moment and let go of our thoughts, we may be surprised to discover that many things we believe to be true are merely mental constructs. The concepts of past and future disappear along with the distinctions between the observer and the observed, the subject and the object, the experiencer and the experience. These constructs exist only in our minds. By quieting the mind and letting go of these ideas, we can experience an eternal present moment, without expectations or obligations. If we take a break from our thoughts and clear our minds, we can gain a childlike perspective of the world. As Jesus said, this perspective can be useful as adults. A baby cannot do much with this perspective because they are limited by their physical abilities and can only practice contemplation. They cannot communicate what they experience to others. However, as adults, we can try to recapture this perspective and understand how babies feel. According to Freud, babies have an oceanic experience where they feel completely connected to everything around them, unable to distinguish between themselves and the universe. If we experience this as adults, we might feel fear and question who is in control of what happens next. This is because we are used to thinking of the world in terms of controllers. But this is just a myth. By letting go of our preconceived notions and mental constructs, we can free ourselves from the limitations of our own minds and experience the world in a more direct and intuitive way. This can lead to a sense of liberation and a deep connection with the present moment. However, this is easier said than done. Our minds are constantly running, and it takes effort and practice to quiet the constant chatter and tune in to the present moment. One way to have this childlike perspective is through meditation and mindfulness practices. By focusing on the breath and being fully present in the moment, we can quiet our minds and cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. With practice, this can become a natural state of being. Unified consciousness comes with the sensation of thoughts, meditation, the practice of quieting, focusing, and purifying the mind, aligning them. Calming the mind allows the natural depth of the spirit to manifest. All you need to do is be still. Free yourself from thoughts. Don't treat yourself so carefully. You can get rid of things. Don't hold on too tightly. Let go of your thoughts and release everything. Allow some silence into your life. You can simply let your thoughts pass without getting entangled in them. Don't worry about the breeze. You don't need to know where the wind is going. Let your thoughts be like this breeze, just passing by. Do nothing. Just remain aware. Learn not to express your emotions, but just to feel and detach. Stay like a gatekeeper watching a door open and close. Cultivate this stillness within you, the stillness that only observes things coming and going, arising and disappearing. It is like sitting on the edge of a river and watching the water flow. You observe the leaves, the branches, the fish, and all the things that pass by the river, and you simply remain still, watching all these things come and go. You don't stop your mind, you just let the mind flow. Thoughts continue to arise, change, and disappear, and you just observe. As the mind quiets, you begin to see more clearly the nature of your own resistance, the struggles, the internal dialogues, the way you procrastinate, and develop passive resistance to life. The best strategy is to observe and leave the mind in peace, abandoning any thought that may arise, no matter how powerful or fascinating it may be, and constantly returning to meditation. Our mental habits lose their hold on us, and we create space for new possibilities, new realities, new ways of being. Letting go of the layers of the mind is like peeling an onion. Strip them all away until you reach its essence. Renounce the ego and attachment. This is the key. Detach completely. Abandon the thinking. Mind and return to innocence. Jesus tells us that unless we become like children, we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. This childlike mind, sometimes called the beginner's mind in Zen, is the innocence of pure being, of unconditional love. If we want to live in this state of pure being, something within us must die. It's like when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't become a flying caterpillar, it becomes a butterfly. This is the pathless path. What you are seeking is already within you. Unified consciousness comes with the cessation of thoughts, meditation, the practice of quieting, focusing, and purifying the mind, aligning them. The foundation of everything is calming the mind to allow the natural depth of the spirit to manifest. All you need to do is be still. Free yourself from thoughts. Don't treat yourself so carefully. You can get rid of things, don't hold on too tightly. Let go of your thoughts and release everything. Allow some silence into your life. You can simply let your thoughts pass without getting entangled in them. Don't worry about the breeze. You don't need to know where the wind is going. Let your thoughts be like this breeze, just passing by. Do nothing, just remain aware. Learn not to express your emotions, but just to feel and detach. Stay like a gatekeeper watching a door open and close. Cultivate this stillness within you, the stillness that only observes things coming and going. To truly feel the underlying essence or presence within you, the flow of thoughts must slow down for a moment. For most people, this flow of thoughts never stops, except when they sleep. When the flow of thought quiets, you become fully present. With a quiet mind, you can perceive everything you see and hear, fully present. Stillness doesn't mean you've fallen asleep. It's the opposite. In that stillness, you are more alert than you would be if you identified with continuous thoughts. That inherent stillness exists in every human being. You don't have to strive too hard to reach it, or think that following the right path will lead to a quiet mind in 10 years. If you are not completely miserable every moment of your life, it means you already have some access to this inner stillness, even without realizing it. Most people feel a little better from time to time, without realizing that they have briefly stopped thinking. Humans have judgment about you, and as you approach them, you know they have thoughts about you. Another human cannot free you from your thoughts, but a dog or a cat can do so, if only for a brief moment. And in that moment, it feels good. That's why people love their pets so much. The animal provides some relief from their minds in those moments. Interacting with your pet, you experience brief moments of thoughtless awareness, 2 or 3 seconds, but it's enough to keep going, preventing your life from becoming completely miserable. You might also have other moments like participating in physical activities, such as swimming or climbing a mountain. These activities require full presence, leaving no space for thought, and you feel intensely alive. This feels good because, for a moment, you are freed from the relentless flow of thoughts, allowing some degree of awareness or presence to emerge without you even realizing it. Every human being has this dimension of awareness, but for millions of humans it is deeply hidden and inaccessible. However, others are beginning to awaken to this dimension within themselves. So now, you don't have to wait for specific things to happen to briefly free yourself from your mind. If you don't find this, and I say find or discover, not achieve or obtain, because it already exists as the essence of who you are, you are doomed to live a very frustrated existence for the rest of your life. Life will be just one thing after another, never giving you peace. But what really doesn't give you peace is your mind, which reacts to everything and amplifies every little thing that happens. When we are unconscious, every little challenge in life becomes a big problem in your mind. Be present here and now, just as it is. In this state of presence, we touch the essence of the mind, the original mind, simple and pure. Take care of this essence with all your being, because in this act resides the purest expression of our mind. Even when we are lying in bed, our mind wanders, busy, even in dreams, constantly active. We must learn to let go of the busy mind that thinks ceaselessly. To transcend thought, we must firmly believe in the emptiness of the mind. By believing in the perfect rest of the mind, we return to our pure, original state. This original mind encompasses everything, and has always been rich and self-sufficient. Do not lose this state of self-sufficiency. It is not a closed mind, but an empty and alert one. If your mind is empty, it is ready and open to everything. When listening to a talk, for example, don't have preconceived ideas in mind. Abandon your own ideas and simply listen. Keeping the mind empty is being natural, and in this way, you truly understand. If you bring an idea to compare, your understanding will be partial and incomplete. Free yourself from all preconceived ideas and practice, and see for yourself what kind of experience your practice brings you. You simply live always in reality, moment by moment. By forgetting ourselves, we become the true activity of great existence, reality itself. With this realization, all the problems of the world disappear, and we can live fully. If you face difficulties, it's because you have feelings. You hold on to these feelings without understanding how they arise, without realizing your unity with the river, with the universe. You feel fear, but have you already been divided, or not? Water is always water. Our life and death are one. By realizing this, we no longer fear death nor face difficulties in life. When water returns to its original unity with the river, it no longer has individual feelings. By returning to its nature, it finds serenity. Everything arises from emptiness. The entirety of a river or a mind is emptiness. By understanding this, we find the true meaning of life and can see the beauty of human existence. Before this realization, everything we see is an illusion. By being able to sit with your whole being, uniting body and mind in harmony with the universe, you will easily reach this correct understanding. Your daily life will be renewed, freeing you from old and wrong interpretations of life. With this understanding, you will realize how senseless your old opinions were and the futility of past efforts. Even in difficulties, like the dizzying descent of a waterfall, you will learn to appreciate every aspect of your existence. When your mind is freed from external ties, it becomes unlimited. With a free mind, you will understand that your mental activity is nothing more than waves on the surface of a vast and serene ocean. Our serenity is deep and unshakable. By restricting our activity to the maximum, without a specific object of devotion, we focus solely on the present moment. When bowing, do so completely. When sitting, be fully present. While eating, focus only on eating. In this way, the universal essence will always be present, inviting us to exist here and now. The essence of the practice is serenity, and the most important attitude is to understand and trust the great mind that constantly accompanies us. Trusting in this great mind is essential because it is always with us in every moment and situation. We must be able to appreciate things as expressions of the great mind. This goes beyond faith. It is the ultimate and undeniable truth. Whether difficult or easy to practice, understand or achieve, the only way is continuous practice. What truly matters is recognizing yourself as someone in constant realization, reclaiming your true self through practice in communion with all things, unconditionally supported by everything. This is the way to live every moment fully, and this practice is eternal. It means practicing emptiness, not just understanding it through thought, but experiencing it in practice. If you perceive emptiness and being as opposites, you're still bound to ideas. The emptiness we speak of is not reached with ideas or thoughts, but where the mind follows the breath, connecting the inner world with the outer world, without limits or divisions. Do not try to stop your thoughts. Let them flow freely, coming and going without attachment. This will open the doors of your mind, allowing your thoughts to come and go without judgment or resistance. Trying to stop thoughts only shows that they are bothering you. The secret is not to be disturbed by anything. What seems to come from outside is really just the waves of your own mind. By not letting them affect you, they will gradually calm down. Sensations, thoughts, and images may arise, but they are only waves of the mind itself. Nothing comes from outside. Understanding our mind correctly means recognizing that it includes everything we think comes from outside. In reality, it arises within our own mind. You are the creator of the waves in your mind. By leaving it as it is, you will find its calm. From this calm arises a wonderful serenity. When you reach this state, you see things as they really are and become one with the universe. We are not seeking something beyond ourselves. Our path is to practice one step at a time, one breath at a time. Forget the idea of gain. Simply sit in a specific posture without thinking of anything. Stay on your cushion without expecting anything, and eventually you will return to your true nature, your purest and truest essence. Everything we see around us, the entire universe, is the manifestation of the one absolute. The first veil to destroy is ignorance. When it is lifted, sin disappears, desire ceases, selfishness ends, and all suffering vanishes. This elimination of ignorance can only occur when we know that God and I are one. In other words, identify with God, not with human limitations. The entire universe is a mere appearance, not reality, and the notion of parts, small beings, and differentiations is only illusory. It is not the true nature of each thing. You and I and everything in the universe are the absolute, not parts of it, but the whole. All apparent divisions and limitations are illusory. If you think you are limited, you will remain limited. If you know you are free, you will be free. Do not identify with the body, and all pain will pass. This is the secret of healing. The universe is a case of hypnosis. Through dehypnosis, a book or anything else is absolute in itself. No matter how much you study, you cannot obtain this knowledge. Clean the surface of the mirror, purify your own mind, and you will instantly see what you are. All our suffering stems from ignorance, specifically the belief in separation. The divisions we perceive between individuals, nations, and all things are illusions, mere surface-level appearances. At the heart of existence lies unity. If you look deeper, you will realize that we are all expressions of the same essence. Those who truly grasp this unity understand the fundamental truth of all existence. We are eternal souls, blessed and forever free. We are not bound by matter or the physical body. Matter exists to serve us, not the other way around.